Hey friends, over 60% of you are listening to me right now on an Apple product. iPhone, iPad, iTunes. I need your help. The truth is, Apple will make this podcast more discoverable to new listeners the more reviews it has. So I'm here asking you to take a moment and leave a review. If you've gained any value from this podcast, the greatest thing you can do for it, besides spreading the word and telling friends, is leaving a review. It's real simple. If you're on your phone, head over to my podcast page within the Apple Podcast app and leave a review. Or if you're on a computer, you can head over to my podcast page within the iTunes app. That's it. That's all I ask. And if you have other podcasts that you love, do them a favor and do the same for them. It'll make their day. Now let's get this podcast started already. How do you end up with Tony Ferrari? You have like the coolest name I've ever heard, by the way.
Oh, thank you, man. I don't know. I got lucky, I guess.
You got lucky.
Yeah.
Is your mom or dad, did they invent Ferraris and, you're filthy rich with nice cars or what?
I wish my mom or dad invented Ferrari and I was filthy rich with nice cars. Instead, I drive a Focus now, but I was driving a 96 Sunfire.
Okay. Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with the Focus. I mean, I've driven one as a rental before, and they're pretty nice.
Yeah, I just got it, actually. I'm picking it up tomorrow. So.
Oh, you just got it? I mean, brand new, just got it.
Yeah, it's older, though. It's 2008, so
yeah,
it's got low mileage on it, sorry.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Well, man, welcome to the podcast, Tony Ferrari.
Thank you.
It's good to.
Thank you very much.
Good to meet you. Good to talk to you, and all that good stuff. And dude, I think we came across one another. I want to say it's been about 2 or 3 months. I feel like.
Yeah, it's been about 3 months. Yeah, we came across each other on. I want to say Big Sexy Bearded Beast posted something. About motivation, and we were both tagged in it. So I was like, "Oh, I'll follow a bunch of these guys," and yeah, that's how I think we came across each other.
I believe that is exactly how it went. Sometimes people have better memories than I do. Although I tend to remember a lot of stuff that people don't remember. But you now also similarly remember something that I don't remember. But that I believe it though. Believe me, because the Instagram thing is kind of funny. We talk about this all the time on the podcast. It's such a community. There's a lot of people, tagging each other and interacting, and the community overall is just super positive. I mean, I love it. I can't get enough of it.
Oh, honestly, when I first joined Instagram, a couple years ago, I was super uninteractive. I'd post a picture and I'd be like, yeah, I went to the gym, and it'd be nothing else other than that. Over the last 6 months or so is when I started getting a little bit more interactive, and yeah, it's just the community's crazy.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we tend to get on Instagram and we're like, all right, here's my shit, and then we just drop it and roll, and we just hope that people see it and like it and comment it. But it's when you actually get involved in the community, it's kind of crazy the reaction, the responses that you get. It's kind of wild.
Oh yeah, it's been crazy. It's just posting stuff like you said, right? You just post your stuff and you're like it please, and then once like you said, once you start getting involved in it, you start tagging someone that you found who has tons and tons of followers, and you're just like Obese to Beast is one of the people that I originally followed,
right?
And I was I just tagged him, and then he liked it, and I'm like, oh snap.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, and that guy's doing incredible, by the way.
Oh man. There's so many people on Instagram though doing incredible. People, I started following this one guy today. I wish I could remember his name.
Yeah.
But he had 40 followers. He just started his journey, but he just started on Instagram, but he'd already lost 120 pounds. And I'm like, damn, man, that's inspirational in and of itself. And it was day 3, I think he said.
Oh my God! Send me. Send me a link later to his thing. I want to go check it out.
Yeah, I'll definitely send you a link to that.
There's a guy. There's a guy. What's his name? Doing it big. Have you seen this guy?
Oh yeah, I definitely have.
That guy's insane.
Oh, it's crazy.
Big guy 700.
Yeah.
Mainer, he's crushing it. Lexi and Danny, they're both killing. I mean, everybody, man.
Oh, there's just the inspiration that people can get off of Instagram. Like I said, when I joined, it was basically like I didn't follow many people. I just kind of did my own thing. And then once I started getting involved, it was like you were coming across people like Lexi and Danny, or like any of these people, Obese to Beast and whatnot.
Yes.
And it's just crazy inspiration because you're like, well, they did it, so I can do it.
Exactly.
And then you start working and whatnot. It's just, it's amazing.
Exactly. So tell me about you, Tony Ferrari. First of all, how old are you? I feel like we're not too far off.
I'm 25 almost.
Okay, maybe we are a little far off. Jesus Christ. Every time I get to my onion, they got to make me feel so old.
I know. Well, believe me, I'm an old 25.
Fair enough. So you're 25. How long have you been on this journey?
Well, it was weird cuz growing up I was never fat. Like I was really skinny kid.
Yeah.
And then about grade 7 or 8, I started to put on a little bit of meat, but nothing like that even got me chunky. It was basically like, all right, now he's healthy.
Yes.
And then grade 9, 10, I started just packing on the pounds. And by the time I was out of high school, I was like 270-ish.
Okay.
And I maintained that for a few years and whatnot. And then I started slowly ballooning up. And me and my girlfriend at the time, who I have 2 kids with.
Yeah.
We were having like problems with each other because we were both ballooning up, and we're kind of like exiling ourselves from each other, basically.
Okay. And
then, so we ended up breaking up for about 6 months.
Okay.
And in that 6 months, I was like, you know what? She has my son, so what am I going to do after work every day? So I just ended up kind of going to the gym because I had a friend in town who was heavily into the gym.
Yes.
So he kind of brought me to the gym, and he's like, all right, do this. And like it was extremely motivational for me just because he's like, all right, we're starting on the bench press. And I was like, well, I just want to do cardio because I've never been to the gym really.
Yeah.
But he goes, no, we're going to do bench press. He lays me down on the bench press, and I'm like struggling just to press the bar up. Like I wasn't even one of those like strong fat guys. I was like literally just kind of fluffy.
Fair enough. No, we've all been there, believe me. Now, when is this? And I'm sorry, I don't want to get you off too many tangents. Sometimes I see something, it's like the shiny object, and I want to go for it. I'm looking at your avatar here on Skype, and you've got like the before and after, or the after and before, I should say.
Yeah.
When is this picture on the right? When is this from?
The before or the after?
The before.
The before, that's from my son's 2nd birthday.
Okay. You kind of look like Clark Duke in this picture. You know Clark Duke?
Honestly?
I swear to God, dude. You look just like Clark Duke.
It's so funny that you say that because I have 2 guys at work that constantly used to call me Clark Duke. And even still now to this day, like I work on a CNC machine.
Right.
They took a label maker and put Clark Duke's machine on the machine.
Please, Tony Ferrari, please take that as a compliment. Please take that as a compliment.
It is not an insult. It's something that I find hilarious.
I've seen Hot Tub Time Machine like 1,000 times. I'm sure he's been in other stuff, but that's the one that comes to mind.
Oh yeah, that's exactly the one that comes to mind when I think of him. But yeah, it's so funny that you say that because I'm gonna make my friends listen to this now.
Yes.
Specifically just for this like 2 minutes.
Yes. Which, by the way, you go to the after picture and you look just like straight up, cut as hell. Like you look like a straight up gangster in this other picture, man.
Like, thank you.
Kicking ass, ready to go. So the before and the after, how long in between are we talking here?
Those are what, 2.5 years apart.
Okay.
2 years apart.
All right. Fair enough. Now I know I got you off track, and I got to apologize because I like to go all over the place. So you were mentioning that your buddy took you to the gym, and he was, you wanted to do cardio, he wanted you to lift, and pick it back up there. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get you off track.
Oh no, dude, the Clark Duke thing was totally worth it.
Yes, it was totally worth it. I agree.
Okay, so I'm on the bench press, and he goes, "All right, you struggle with that bar. Guess what? We're putting on 10 pounds on each side."
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I could barely do 5 with just the bar, so I do 2 or maybe even a third one with some help.
Okay.
And then he's like, all right, well, now I'm going to warm up. So he puts like 45-pound plates on each side, just bangs out 10. He goes, try that. So I'm like, no, like that's not going to help me whatsoever.
Right.
And he goes, just try it. So I lay down, I try it. I bring the bar down, and it's sitting on my chest, and I'm like, I'm not getting out from under this bar. So he sits there and he slowly helps me lift it up, and we get 1 rep. He goes, give yourself 3 months and you'll be able to lift it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, no, not going to happen. Right? And it didn't take, like, it took longer than 3 months.
Right.
But it happened, right? It was that, like, moment for me that I was like, this is something I like doing. Because, like, it just challenged me so much more than basically anything else that was going on in my life at the moment.
Fantastic. So you just took it on, and you were like a runaway train at that point. You were just laser focused, ready to go.
Yeah, well, like I had said, like, me and my girlfriend had broken up at the time.
Yeah.
So there were 6 months where it was like, during the, like, on the weekends I'd have my son every weekend, but it was like nothing. During the week it was go to work, go home. And I was living with my parents, and I'm like, I don't want to be at my parents' house all the time. Like,
yeah, it's kind of rough.
I want to go figure something out to do. So I started going to the gym. Even after he left town and he went back home, I just started going to the gym every day after work for about an hour or so. And for the first few months, it was, I'd go and I'd sit on the exercise bike and I'd ride for like half an hour. Then I'd go downstairs and I'd kind of wander around where the weights are.
Right.
Try something once in a while, but like that last half hour was mostly me just walking around watching other people, as creepy as that sounds. Like,
observing.
Like, I don't mean to sound creepy, but yeah, basically that's what I did.
Sure.
I was like, all right, this is what this guy is doing, so I want to try that next time I come to the gym.
Well, it's not like we're not all being creepy on Instagram, like observing what other people do and how they do it.
Oh, for sure.
If anything,
we're all
though,
a little creepy.
Yeah. I mean, but if anything, I guess sometimes we just get a little guilty of, sometimes we want so much what other people have, and we're always rushing or trying to rush to the finish line to get what somebody else has and trying to go their path. And what happens in the meantime is we fall flat on our face because everybody's at different levels, right? And sometimes we just can't. We got to stay in our own lane with this stuff, I feel like.
Exactly. Like, I'm totally, like, I fully believe that, because there's so many things other people do that I'm just like, yeah, there's no way I can physically do that right now. Like, you're multiple times a week, 200 floors. I do about 200 floors once, maybe twice a week if I'm feeling really hot.
Yeah.
And I'm just like dead afterwards, and I'm like, ugh. And then I see you posting, dude, another 250 floors, and I'm like, damn, Gary.
I get people, though, they DM me all the time, and they're like, they'll take a picture of them like on the stairs, and they're like, I'm 150, I'm almost at 200, and I'm like, fuck, I almost wish I never said anything, because I don't want people to like try to hurt themselves to emulate, because it happens so often. It's like, maybe you see the guy like you lifting a weight. Somebody wants to now lift the crazy weights, or they see me on the stairs and now they want to try to do the 300 flights of stairs. And I'm just like, man, I almost kind of wish I didn't say anything, because in a way now I get all these people that are trying, and I don't want anybody to hurt themselves. And that's why I always say, like, please go at your own pace and do what you can do, and don't try to kill yourself on these damn stairs. Oh,
for sure. Like, I'm totally ahead of that, because like anytime I bring someone to the gym with me, or I try something that I see someone else doing, I'm like, I go in fully going, you know what, I might not get this. Yeah. And I have to be okay with that, because I have to work up to that, basically.
Yeah, and I should preface it, I don't think there's anything wrong, like, if you want to try something you've never done that you've seen, but I think if you just go in there with the kind of unrealistic expectations of, I'm going to do exactly what or better than this person did, you're probably doomed to fail on your first time out, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's good to have a little bit of that competitive nature of like, oh, I seen Gary do this, so I want to do that, or I seen Tony do this, so I want to do a little bit better. Yeah, and it's good to have a little bit of that, but you also have to know your limits, big time.
Exactly. I mean, do you follow Eddie Lindenstein on Instagram?
Yeah.
He and I go back a little bit, and I always see him lifting like some crazy ass weights, and I'm like, man, one day I'm gonna be able to do that kind of stuff, but you won't find me in the gym trying to do it right now, because I'm not, especially not with my wrist the way it is right now. But you won't find me trying to do that, because I just think it's kind of unrealistic for me at this point. But it's something nice to work up to at some point.
Oh, for sure. Like, I always recommend to people, like, try something new when you're in the gym. Like, anytime you feel like something's getting a little stale,
yeah,
trying something new can never hurt unless you hurt yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like, as long as you try and you know kind of your limits, and you work on doing it with basic form and keeping your body intact, then you can only benefit from trying new things.
If I want to emulate anything, I want to emulate Ryan's ability to sweat. Big, sexy, bearded beast.
Oh my
guy,
gosh, I know.
This guy, like, I don't know if he's wearing like 8 layers of clothing on underneath or something to sweat that much. Cause I know I'm putting in max effort, but I'm just like, damn, can I get a little more sweat in? Let me shed just a little bit more. Like, holy crap.
Some of the times he posts like little videos of like just the brim of his hat dripping.
Yes.
And I'm like, he was totally swimming with a hat on.
Totally
that's
swimming.
Insane.
If I could emulate his sweat, and if I could emulate the fast talking of Ken, Fat Boy Shrink, if I could emulate his fast talking, I would be set. Those are the things I want to emulate. I want to be able to talk that fast to eventually get a career as an auctioneer guy.
Well, if you can talk that fast, you might end up actually sweating that much.
It's very possible, and I even commented on one of his posts, Ken's post. I was like, dude, you got like the fastest intro in the land. Like, that's like 2 seconds flat, if that.
Oh, for sure. Like, he's in and out with the intro, and he's getting right to the content.
Somebody, Fat Boy Shrink. I'm just like, I can't even do it. Like, I can't even imitate it right now. Like. So, but anyway, there's a lot of cool people out there on the Instagram. And one of the things I do a lot, that I encourage others, it's like whether it's a live stream or whatever, I always say, like, look who's in the live room and follow each other. Cause I'm always constantly telling everybody, like, follow one another and let's keep the community going. I think a lot of us follow each other already, but I'm just like, let's keep that going and just, like, look at who's commenting on whose photos and just follow everybody there. Like, I don't even care if they don't follow back. Like, just follow them and just let's try to get a dialogue and build a community here. That's what I'm all about.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd said, like, for the longest time, I wasn't interacting or following many people or anything.
Yeah.
But now every time I see someone like commenting on someone else, like one of your posts or one of the other people I follow posts,
yes,
I reply to it, or I follow them real quick, and it's like, it takes 2 seconds to follow someone, and unless they're posting something completely horrible, is it really that bad to follow them? You know what I mean?
I don't think so, but there's so much of a vanity thing. Everybody wants to be like the guy that follows 20 people and has 30,000 followers. There's always going to be people like that, and I never got that, but like me, I'm always I want to get the information. That's the kind of business I'm in. I want to know a lot about these folks and learn about different types of workouts and learn about kind of what everybody goes through, because then I can understand better, and it helps me become better as a person on a weight loss journey, because I can learn a variety of things. I can become well versed and understand how different people respond to different things. For me, it's an information game, and I'm all about getting as much information as I can. So,
I'm totally with you there. I was actually just talking to a friend, Honeybee Fitness, on Instagram.
Honeybee Fitness. I don't think I'm on to that one. I need to find that one.
Yeah, he was just talking about how because he just switched his name from The Strength Within. Yeah. And he's like, I was debating on doing it, and because I didn't want people to like not know it's me and then either stop following thinking it's a spam account or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, honestly, the people that are going to follow you, they're the same people that are replying to comments or commenting on stuff or tagging you and stuff. So don't worry about the number of people that are following you. Worry about who it is.
Exactly.
Like, you want good people following you, because if you
quality over quantity.
Exactly, right? Like, I only have, like, I think 300 followers or something like that. But, like, I interact with almost every single one because
you sure do.
They're people that I've followed and seen make like, crazy changes or just big gains, you know what I mean?
And for the people listening that aren't already following you, where do they get you?
At Not So Fat Tony. Underscores between all the words.
Underscores?
And, yeah, I don't know why. I just
we might need to work on that a little bit there, Tony. I don't know, man. I mean, you got the fat loss thing going, the weight loss. We might need to trim down that name a little bit, brother.
It is long, and I've been debating on trimming it down myself. Yeah.
No, but everybody definitely go follow Tony if you're not already following him. Good one to follow for sure. I get inspired all the time. I see you, all these photos, dude. I mean, your journey has been just crazy. We've talked about it, kind of where you got your start. One other thing I wanted to circle back on, though, because you mentioned how you and your girlfriend kind of, both were kind of getting bigger. I think there's this thing, it's kind of unspoken a lot of times, of where you kind of get comfortable, quote unquote comfortable. Do you think that's a real thing?
100%. 100%. I think it's a comfortability thing.
Okay,
like,
so is that what happened for you?
Yeah, oh, 100%. Like, we got comfortable kind of like coming home after work and sitting down watching some TV.
Right.
And then when we're watching TV, we grab a bag of chips, or like I'd make brownies in the middle of the week just because I was like, we should have brownies. And then because we were sitting around doing nothing, we eat half the batch of brownies.
But it's also a thing like both of you guys are not really like on the prowl anymore, You're like you got what you want, right? You got what you want. Now you're kind of sitting comfortable, and yeah, let's have some brownies and a cake and cookies and all that stuff, right?
Exactly. And like when you're seeing that person every day, you don't notice them growing bigger and getting way more unhealthy than they've ever been.
Right.
And like we have a big family picture in our living room right now, and it was me at my highest weight and her closest to her highest weight. And like my son looks at it all the time now, like he's 5, and he looks at it and he was I think 2 in the picture, and he goes, "Dad, you guys were so fat." Like he just like so blunt.
Oh my God! So he's in on it.
Oh yeah, like he's almost every day he's like, "Dad, we going to the gym?" Because they have a little daycare at the gym, like, and he loves going in there, and he has friends there and whatnot, but he sees me coming out sweaty, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, why are you sweating? Oh, what are you drinking after your workout?" and stuff like that.
Wow.
And he's even gotten to the point where, like, anytime I get protein or I have a protein bar or whatever, if it's something he's seen me not eat before, like it's a different brand, he's like, "Oh, I want to try that."
Oh, okay, cool. So he's interactive with it. He's into it.
He's into it. He hates the protein stuff, though. Like, he hates the protein bars and the protein shakes and whatnot. But
so he
tries them.
He knows it's healthy, and that's why he doesn't like it, or
no? He knows it's healthy, and I don't think that's not why he likes it. I think he's just very like picky. He's a super picky eater. Like unless it's spaghetti or chicken nuggets, he doesn't want to eat it. Basically, it's a battle with him.
God, it sounds like me. It sounds like your son and I have a lot in common because I'm an extremely picky eater. Now, how about the girlfriend? Is she involved in the journey as well, or is she kind of just rooting you along on the side, or what?
No, yeah, big time. Because like I said, when we broke up, I started going to the gym.
Yeah.
Well, she started running with a friend.
Oh, cool.
Same thing, just to get out of the house. We didn't talk for like 4 months, basically, aside from dropping off my son and like exchanging my son back and forth, right?
Yes.
And then finally one day I text her and I'm like, "Hey, let's go get coffee." Okay. It's been a long time. We haven't talked. We should settle some things at least.
Sure.
So we went out and had coffee and we started talking a little bit. And then she's like, "Wow, you've lost a lot of weight." And I'm like, "So have you. Like, you look really good."
Yeah.
And then she was asking me what I did, and I was asking her what she did. And it got to the point where she's like, "Well, I want to start getting into going to the gym a little bit more because it's going to be wintertime. So it's going to be too cold to go out for runs every day or every couple days. So would you mind if I came to the gym with you?" Yeah, sure. And it basically, we had to completely rebuild our friendship.
Yeah. Because
we had completely lost that in the food and in the just comfortable living the way we were, kind of shitty lifestyle, basically.
Sure. And so, what's it like, to have a partner with you working out, because you talk about months where you went by yourself. I mean, you had your buddy at first and then you were continuing to go, but like when you add in your partner, your girlfriend, or if it's somebody's wife or whatever, like what is that like when you involve them now in your process? Because, and I should preface it by saying, you kind of get to the gym, you have a routine, right? I got to do X, Y, and Z. So when you introduce like a new gym partner into that, like how does all that work out?
Well, it worked out pretty good for us because by the time she had started coming to the gym with me, yeah. I had completely gotten away from cardio and I was strictly lifting, basically.
Right.
Like 5 to 6 days a week, I'd go to the gym and I'd just lift. If I did cardio, it was like 10 minutes on the elliptical to cool down kind of thing. Like, it was nothing that was actually burning off a whole lot of calories.
Sure.
But the weights themselves were getting me a really good, they were getting me a good pump. They were getting me a good, my heart rate was going and everything. So I was losing weight. Yeah. And when she finally came with me, she's like, "Well, I'll lift some weights with you if you do cardio with me." Like, she didn't want to have us kind of do separate things at first.
Okay.
So she'd lift weights with me for half hour, 45 minutes, and then I'd go and do cardio with her for half hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
And it worked out. Like, she kind of helped my strengths and I kind of my weaknesses, and I kind of helped her weaknesses.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
And then, so yeah, now we go to like, depending on what shift she's on, because she works a swing shift.
Okay.
She'll go to the gym 2 to 3 days by herself, and then 2 or 3 days with me.
Oh, there you go.
So we don't work out together every day, but we're always like, hey, how was the gym? What'd you do at the gym today? Okay, you did chest workouts or you did back workouts, whatever. And we kind of try to keep on the same-ish schedule, depending on how we're working out.
So it sounds like it also introduces something new to talk about, something new you have in common, something new to kind of interact on.
Oh, big time. Because, like, I was heavy into, like, the meal prepping and getting stuff like that. So now she's getting into that stuff, and half the time she does it for me, and I come home or I look in the fridge, and she's like, oh, yeah, there's some lunches prepped for you for the week at work. And it's like, sweet. Like, it saves time for both of us, right?
Oh, definitely.
But, yeah, so it definitely has introduced something new to talk about because, like I said, we're checking in on each other's workouts, or we're like, oh, hey, what are we having for dinner tonight? Or even something as simple as going out with friends. We're like, okay, well, is there going to be healthy options kind of thing? Should we eat a little bit beforehand so we don't eat as much out at whatever restaurant or whatever it is?
Yeah.
So it's worked out pretty good for us.
And where are you at with all that stuff? Like in terms of like, do you have a cheat meals or cheat days, or are you like strictly on plan all the time?
I've never been the kind of person that could stay strictly completely on plan.
Yeah.
Like I've gone through like pretty decent stretches where like I'm super strict. I'm eating chicken and rice and broccoli and veggies and a little bit of salmon and trying to stay strict. But it never lasts more than a month if I try to get too crazy on myself.
then you gotta let loose a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So what I try to do now, especially because right now I'm trying to bulk up a little bit.
Sure.
So my diet isn't as strict, like personally. Like if I'm at work and people are like, oh, hey, let's go grab burritos, I'll still try to stick to a healthier option.
Sure.
But I don't limit myself essentially right now.
Do you have like a meal or a day where you have no restrictions whatsoever, or you just try to keep it within reason at all times?
Yeah, I'm more of a within reason kind of person. Like,
sure.
I don't go and be like, oh, just get to Sunday because Sunday's cheat meal or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more like, oh, you know what? I had a bag of chips or something yesterday. So I'm going to take a few days off of snacking or whatever it ends up being. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that goes back to where everybody's kind of different. Like, I know, I mean, you've heard the podcast. I've had so much addiction problem in the past with things like McDonald's, Taco Bell, stuff like that. Like, so for me, in order to stay sane, I always had to have that one day that I could kind of look forward to where I'm like, all right, on this day, you can kind of just go buck wild, but then back Monday, your ass is back to work, that kind of thing. So I've always kind of needed that. And I think everybody's different in that. Cause I know some people that don't cheat at all. Like they're not even like within reason, like you're saying, like they're just like strict 100% of the time. Then there's people that fall in the middle, kind of like you. And then there's people like me that need a day or so to kind of just do whatever. And I think that ultimately the point is everybody's got a different way of doing it, I think.
Oh yeah. That's the thing. If you don't find what's right for you, you're probably going to fail. You're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
Because trying to follow something because that person does it or this person does it, it might not work for you. Like you said, like you and I are different in that way. You look forward to that cheat meal where I'm like, oh man, maybe I'll just have the cheat meal Tuesday. Yeah. And then I go the rest of the week and I'm fine.
Sure.
Right? Like it's you got to find what's good for you. Because if you don't, you're like you said, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Oh God, yeah. Every time before when I've had these different plans where I like try to stick to a specific plan, it was a recipe for failure every single time, and I failed every single time, and until I finally just sat back and said, you know what, I'm just going to kind of make this shit up as I go along, and I'll stay on plan 98% of the time, and then there's that 1 or 2%, that one day or whatever, where I kind of just do whatever, and so far it's working. And you know, maybe next year will be different. Who knows? Maybe next year I won't have those urges, but you just never know till you try it out, I think. Oh,
big time. Like my big thing was like my biggest addiction was Tim Hortons Timbits, which is basically like Dunkin' Donuts donut holes.
Oh man!
Like, but up here in Canada, we have the Tim Hortons, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like these little tiny donut holes, and they're just so freaking good. And like I'd go to work, and I like on the way to work, it's a 25-minute drive most of the time. Yeah. On the way to work, I just pick up like a box of 10 or 15, like 10 or 20 of them, and I just eat it on the way to work. And I'd have the intention, hey, bring it in, share it with the guys or share it with whoever, right?
Yeah.
And I just eat it, and by the time I get to work, I'm like, oh, shit, I ate the whole thing. All right, fold the box up, put it in your pocket, throw it out when you get inside. Don't let anyone see it.
Oh,
like, it was literally
God.
like stuff to the point where like I'd get like ashamed of myself. Like, and it would just be like, man, like, control yourself. Don't buy the Timbits. Like, wait the 5 minutes to get to work and then find something. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, I used to have those walk of shames where like you'd roll the bag up really small, throw it in a pocket, and then when nobody's looking, you just toss it in the trash can.
Exactly.
Oh, I've done that so many times. I'm not gonna lie. It's bad, man. It's really bad.
Oh, I totally know that feeling.
Yeah, definitely. So you got the diet in check. You got the workout in check. You and the lady are on the same game plan. The kids on board. I mean, it sounds like right now everything for you is just clicking right as it should.
For the most part, yeah. Like weight loss wise, everything's going really well.
Is there anything is there anything that's missing right now?
The weight loss at the moment.
Well, what weight are you at right now?
Right now I'm at 205.
God damn, I'd love to be at 205
I'd gone up to that. I'd gone up to that because I got down to 186.
Okay.
And around the beginning of October.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? This winter I want to bulk up a little bit. Like I want to put on some muscle, and I want to like focus heavy on the weightlifting and cut back on the cardio. So, and I've done some research into it, and I've talked to my friend who's into the working out, like really heavily into the working out. To one point, he was prepping for a bodybuilding physique show.
Right.
And so I talked to him about it, and he's like, you know what? If you want to put on muscle, cut back the cardio a little bit, increase the weightlifting, and increase what you're eating. That sounds really like it was so hard for me to do because I was so like for 2.5 years I was in this like keep your calories low, make sure your workouts are really intense and like really high intensity, and like keep the cardio going because that's how you're losing weight right now. Like it was going really well for me. So making that change to try to put on weight essentially was like extremely hard for me. And there was just days where like I boosted my calories from around 2,100 to around like 3,500.
Yeah.
Like almost doubling the amount of calories I take in. And I get to lunch and I'm like, oh, I'm not even hungry. But for the goal I had in mind, like I had to kind of almost force myself to eat.
Yeah.
In that mindset was just really foreign to me at first.
You ever just have the days where you just like either you forget to have a meal or you just say like, I'm not really hungry, I'm not going to eat, even though you know it's probably a good idea that you should. Like I feel like that happens to me, not a lot, but I mean I feel like it's at least once a week. There'll be like a day that'll come along and you know whether it's like lunch or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm not really hungry today, like, or I just forget to eat and I'm just like, I'll just move on to the next meal.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest part for me, right?
Yeah.
Right now at least, right? Is that like I get to that point where I'm like I just don't want to eat.
Yeah.
But because like I said, I'm trying to bulk up at the moment, it's like no, you have like for the goals you have, like try to eat.
Right.
Like if you don't finish it, don't worry about it, but try to get the calories in.
Yes.
Because it's not because I'm not eating I'm not eating to the point where I'm sitting there like bloated and full and like feeling gross or anything. But it's just like you said, sometimes you're just like, I don't feel like eating.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was so foreign to try, like almost force myself to try to eat. That's
kind of rough too. It's like, I mean, I've had these points where like I forced myself to eat, but that's when I really, really wanted to. And I'm like, more. I've never gotten to a point where I didn't want to eat and I like forced myself. I would shudder to think like what that would be like. I'm just like, ooh, man.
It's a weird place. Honestly, mentally, it's a weird place.
Yeah.
Because like I said, like I was in that like weight loss mode of like, all right, you don't want to eat. Don't worry about it. Your energy level's good enough right now. You're getting your calories in for the day. You're working out. You're good.
Yeah.
Whereas to now, like I said, trying to put on muscle, like to like the basic science of it is to lose fat, you have to be in a calorie deficit.
Right.
And to gain muscle, you have to be in a calorie surplus. And again, you can't just be eating Mars bars and candy and chocolate all day to get those calories in.
No.
It has to be chicken and rice and good nutritional stuff.
Sure.
But it's like, oh, sometimes 3,500 calories is so hard to get to. And you don't think like that because you're like, oh, McDonald's, you can kill 3,500 calories in a sitting sometimes.
I've done it many days.
Oh, I'm with you.
Now, you've been at this for 2 years. You ever have a day or a week or so where you've just like completely fallen off? Like, have you hit roadblocks along the way, or has it been pretty smooth sailing for you?
Oh, 100%. 100. Like, even as recently as like this summer. Like,
really? Okay, tell me about that.
Oh yeah, it was just like we'd gone camping, and I was pretty good on the camping trip, and I came back from camping expecting to be like gained a couple pounds or whatnot,
right?
And I had actually lost a few, and I'm like, sweet, that's awesome. Treat yourself a little bit. So I kind of let myself, like I went out for ice cream or whatever,
yeah,
which is no big deal. But then like later that day, I'm like, you know what, I kind of want this. I think I like crushed a bag of chips.
Sure.
And then for like 2 weeks straight, I was just eating garbage. I was like, I don't want to cook dinner tonight. I'll just grab Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I put on some weight at that point, and I was just like, dude, you've fallen way off the wagon at the moment. So it was one of those things where I had to kind of be strict on myself for a week and give myself, and it was one of those moments where, like you said, giving yourself that cheat meal at the end of the week gave me something to look forward to. Yeah. So it has worked for me at times. So
yeah, I'm kind of in that position right now. It's like, as you know, some of the listeners know, I'm kind of out. You know, I'm injured right now. The doctors told me that, look, you need to wait another week or so before you can do anything. And so I haven't been working out, and I'm not going to say that I've been, taking advantage of it, because I've not been just having, 10 pizzas at once. But to say I've been watching what I eat probably is not an accurate, I've slipped a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be completely honest. And chances are that when I step on the scale, probably in a week or so, it's going to be up a little bit. And I'm not even so upset that it's going to be up, because you're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, you're going to have maintains on the scale. The scale doesn't mean shit to me. It's more or less, sure. It's more or less just the mindset of, I want to go to the gym, but I can't. The guy says, you need to chill out. You need to relax your body. Please do not go and put pressure on it and work out. And I want to respect that. But at the same time, I'm like, well, holy crap, I really, really want to go. And I'm taking comfort in food. And that's kind of the situation I'm in right now, unfortunately.
Oh, for sure. I've been there too. I remember, I want to say it was beginning of last summer, or maybe during the spring. Yeah. I had completely strained a hip flexor.
Right.
And like, so it was to the point where like I'd get down, like to sit down off a chair and stand up off sitting in that chair. It was hurting my hip, like to the point where like I'd like limp around a bit.
Yeah.
And so I'd like been like, oh, you know what? Just push through it. You're fine. It's just a little thing. And I finally went to the doctor, and the doctor's like, dude, you should have been off this for 2 weeks already. Like, what are you doing? Like, stop pushing yourself. and stupidly, I was like, okay, no problem. I took 2 days off, and I was back at the gym and like trying to run and stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing? So like, it was that moment where I couldn't even come close to my normal capabilities. And I was like, you know what? I have to listen to the doctor.
Yeah.
And sat back, and like you said, right? When you're sitting at home and you're relaxing and you're not focusing on your fitness, it's almost like it's easier to completely like stop focusing on your diet. It
is. Going through it right now. And that's as honest as I could be with you or anybody else. I mean, I've definitely not been, super, super careful. I've not of course, in the interest of being honest, I've not overdone it by any stretch. It's not the old Gary where I'm, ODing on a bag of McDonald's. It's nothing like that. But it's definitely like, okay, well, I'll have pizza tonight instead of my chicken or whatever, or my turkey burger. Let's have pizza tonight. I've done that. And it's just kind of one of these things. It's like, all right, I'm not at the gym, and my body's just like, well, let's just have something. Cause because there is a thing where I'm in pain, and it's like, I'm taking comfort in eating, and it's not always a healthy thing to do, but I think it's a normal part of life ultimately.
Oh, for sure. I definitely think it's like a normal reaction to that situation, right?
Yeah.
Especially for people like you and I who have been overweight for years at a time, and it's like that's almost like the default setting. And it's going to take years for us. Like we get to our goal weight and be sitting at our goal weight for 2, 3, 4 years. even, and our mindset may still default back to that in a case of an injury or something along those lines. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And the thing about it is, like, with me, it's just my wrist, but it's like, you know, you still need that wrist. And it's not even just so much like, even if I don't use it at all, it's like, there's still like weight on it, whether it's sitting by my side or it's up in the air. Like, you know, even though a lot of my cardio is my legs, I still can't, you know, the wrist still has to move in there somewhere, and it's in a lot of pain. And I'm just like, it's really messing with me mentally a little bit. But I feel like in another week or so, I'm going to be back and on point again. So I know the best is yet to come. That's what I keep telling myself anyway.
Oh, for sure. Like you said, like, you almost feel like you want to try to deal with it and like push through it and stuff. But like, even like, I recently dealt with another like similar thing to the previous hip injury I'd had.
Yeah.
And I'd went and got it checked out and everything, and had it looked at, and the doctor's like, well, this one's not that bad. It's like a slight like strain. It's not even a sprain or anything like that. So you can go ahead and do your workouts.
Yep.
But don't do anything of like above like 40%.
Yeah.
Like, just kind of take it easy, stretch it out, like, kind of let it work itself out through your workouts, but don't push yourself.
Yeah.
So I listened and I did that, and I converted from doing like regular squats to box squats, and so I just basically squat down to a bench and like pop up, but it was like super low weight, almost to the point where it'd be like I'm just getting that stretch in there, and then I'm like relieving it, and it seemed to work really good. Like I done leg day 2-3 days ago now,
right?
And like, it was completely pain free for the first time in about a month, and it was fantastic. It was like the feeling of freedom basically back. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's challenging, but at the end of the day, you know, you get back on it, you're going to end up in a better place. I mean, that's the bottom line. I think I just got to get over this hump personally, and
for sure,
it'll be all right.
Like you said, with the pain kind of being a persistent pain, even when it's just sitting there, like you said in your post earlier, like it's not even just bending your wrist that hurts; it's just the entire wrist at the whole time. So
yeah,
like, even if, like you said, even if you were to try and go just walk on an incline or something at the gym, right, with just your legs, it's still going to be that pain that's kind of sitting there, like pulsating in you, right?
Of course.
So
it's it can be rough, but again, I talked with my doctor today. It's gout, and I've had this in my knees before, and it kind of hangs around for like a week or so, and like it's like a flare up basically, and after about a week it kind of disappears. So I'm coming up on this week, so I feel like probably this weekend or early next week it should be gone. That's the hope anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You want to try to get healthy as soon as possible, but like you said, you don't want to rush it.
Yeah.
Make sure it's in good shape and go from there.
Just like a weight loss journey, Tony. I mean, my God, you've been at it for 2 years, bro. I tell people all the time, I know you're telling people all the time, you got to take your time with this stuff. You can't be in a hurry with this stuff because, number one, it's not going to happen overnight. And number two, patience is a huge part of any journey. I mean, you got to be super patient with it, or else you're never gonna get there.
Oh, for sure. Like there's never been a time where you're just like, I'm losing weight, and there's not a gain, or like the journey isn't linear, right? Like, you look at, if you've tracked it on your weight on any app or anything like that, it's always like a squiggly line, almost like a heartbeat. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
It just kind of slowly goes down, and that's how you get in a good spot.
Exactly. Well, I mean, dude, you've done incredible. You've lost how much total overall?
I got down to 130 overall.
Holy shit.
And right now I'm sitting about 110.
Man, that's incredible. That is incredible, dude. You've done amazing. I hope to God you wake up every day and you're like, I'm so proud of myself. Like, dude, you are insane.
Thank you. I mean, you've almost lost 100 pounds yourself. Like, you're doing crazy, Gary.
I'm getting close. I feel like by the end of this year or early next year, I'm going to hit that mark. I know that this week's definitely going to be a speed bump. It's going to go up a little bit. And again, I'm okay with it. I don't get hung up on the numbers, but I just want to get back with it. But dude, you've done some crazy stuff. One of the things, as you know, I like to ask about everybody before they go anywhere. I like to ask you, like, in the next, 1 to 3, 3 to 5 years, like, what are some of your goals? Where do you hope to be? Like, what's in the future for Tony Ferrari, other than owning Ferrari?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice to own a Ferrari. That'd be a pretty sweet goal to attain in the next 1 to 3 years.
Dude, on a sidebar, you should just walk up and like, my last name is Ferrari. Just give me one. I mean,
I used to try to tell people that all the time, and like when I was in like grade school and stuff.
Yeah,
I'd be like, "Oh yeah, my uncle's totally the guy that runs Ferrari."
Did you ever try to pick up girls with that name or what?
Oh no, like I joke around with my girlfriend all the time, like trying to use the name to pick her up, and like, just jokingly, and she's like, "Go away." Like, go away.
Well, because eventually I'm assuming you guys are going to want to get married and she's going to take that name, and it's like, well, I thought I was going to get a Ferrari with this name, but instead I just got the name.
Oh yeah, she always jokes about that too. She's like, when we do get married, the only reason I'm doing it is for your name.
Exactly.
I'm like, thanks, hon, you're the best.
It is a cool name. I mean, hey, if you ever need a brother, hey, I'm available.
Oh, for sure.
Cantrell doesn't really doesn't flow right off the tongue, but Ferrari sounds great.
Yeah, that's a pretty stellar name, I will say.
I would even say it's better than Clark Duke, personally.
Oh, I'm definitely much happier with the name Tony Ferrari than Clark Duke.
Clark Duke probably wants your name. Like, I feel like if he meets you and sees this picture, he probably wants your name instead.
I wouldn't mind taking his career, so I even trade.
You guys can make a trade, all right? I mean, you've made some great progress, so he can kind of latch onto that, and you guys will trade the name, you'll get the career, et cetera, et cetera. I think it'll be a nice trade-off.
Yeah, I'm pretty fair with that. That's pretty fair.
Very good. So 1 to 3, 3 to 5, where are you at? Where do you see yourself? What are some of your goals?
Oh, well, at least in the next year, man. First I want to make sure I do this cut properly because I bulked up on purpose.
Yes.
So now I want to cut back down to around 185, 180, something like that.
Okay.
And so I want to, like, starting January 1st is the date I told myself, like, I'd get back to the cutting phase, essentially.
Right.
I plan on getting back on, like, keeping track of my nutrition heavily and focusing on making sure, like, don't be lazy and go do a little bit of cardio at the end of my workout every day. But I don't want to lose too much strength, so I want to continue lifting heavy while I do that.
Okay.
And then the rest of the year, I just want to make sure, like, I'm making progress, whether it's just noticing the changes in my body, like shape-wise and whatnot.
Yeah. Even
if I'm not going to be, like, because I'm at the point now where I'm not going to change weight-wise a crazy amount either way.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I'm making progress visually and aesthetically.
Yeah.
And just kind of helping my girlfriend continue on her progress. Because she's lost, I think, almost 90 pounds or just over 90 pounds herself now.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I'm trying to help her continue on with her stuff. And I know she's had a little bit more of a difficult time because she's continuing to try to lose weight right now. While I'm sitting here like, that pizza looks pretty good and bulking up.
Yeah.
So she's definitely having a harder time with it, and I know that. So I want to, in the new year, make sure I continue helping her do that.
Very good. Now, on a sidebar, have you had any issues with the loose skin or anything like that, or you pretty much toned that up with bulking up and all that stuff?
The loose skin, I do have a little bit of issues with the stomach area.
Yeah.
My arms aren't that bad or anything like that, but the stomach area I do have a little bit. Okay. And I think the biggest thing I credit only having a little bit with is losing it slowly. Like I noticed a lot of people like shock their system, they lose 60 pounds like really fast.
Sure.
And I feel like it almost doesn't give your skin enough time to contract back with it.
Okay.
And at least mine personally, like you don't notice it too much, like on a front-on view, like stuff I've posted or whatnot.
Yeah.
But if I were to go down into a plank, that's when I notice it because it almost like sinks to the middle and it's like droops a little bit, right?
Like
yeah, that. Exactly. The perfect loose skin sound.
Yes. So okay, and are you guys looking to get married, more kids? What's all that looking like for you?
Well, we have 2 kids, and I think that's enough.
You think that's enough? You're done.
I'm pretty happy with 2.
Okay, all right.
She has a mindset for maybe try for a girl eventually.
Okay.
But for now, the 2 is good with me.
There you go.
And as for marriage, yeah, eventually we'll get married. And I mean, we've been seeing it, like, we've been together for years now. So, like, she's even said at times, she's like, do we even bother? Because, like, neither of our families are really religious. So we're not going to be doing it for religious reasons or anything like that. But
sure.
Eventually we will get married.
Fair enough. Well, dude, I got to tell you, man, you've made incredible progress. I look at you, I'm inspired. Even though the Clark Duke was a good look for you, you look way better now. You look great. And once again on the gram, I know it's a bit of a long name. Where do the people find you again?
Not so fat Tony with underscores between word.
All right, we're gonna work on that. I think we're gonna talk about.
We'll
that.
Work on it together, Gary. We'll get the name down.
I don't know. You might want to incorporate Ferrari in there somewhere. You might pick up some more followers that way. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe I'll just go to like something classic, like the Tony Ferrari.
There you go.
Something along those lines.
I like that. Well, look,
maybe it'll be the New Year rebrand of my account.
Hey, you might be onto something there. Tony, thank you so much for stopping by on the podcast. It's great to talk with you. And definitely sometime in the new year, we'll have to get you back. I've got this working plan in my mind where I'm going to get everybody that's been on back, several months later for kind of like a follow-up. Where are they now? What's going on kind of deal. And I definitely enjoyed talking with you. And I'm sure by then you're going to be even closer to where you want to be.
Oh, for sure. Like, hopefully by then I'll have at least my cut finished and I'll be back down to the weight I'm more comfortable at, and we'll see where I'm at then.
Right on, brother. Well, thanks again for joining us on the podcast, man. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, Gary. And thank you for having me. And hopefully your wrist gets better sooner rather than later, man.
I hope so. I'm working on it. I'm about to go take some drugs, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, just drug it up.
Drug it up, brother. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you.